Making a video game is very difficult, but today I was inspired to try something out. Hello, I am Debonair, and you, of course, know me as the host of this channel known as Indie Year, although we probably need a name change because no one can say that. New to your ears, but not to the game. Today we are developing uh, a new gaming mechanic that I was inspired to make by Robert Thompson, making a game known as Zero Tag, and he has a couple of devlogs on his channel. If you are a new subscriber, thank you for doing so. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for clicking the like button. Also, head to Robert Thompson's YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button as well because he does know a lot about Unity game development. And today, I was inspired to make this video because I saw that he was working on making a video game in where there was a gameplay element that he wanted to add where you can see through objects, see through walls. So let's actually look exactly at what it is that he developed, what problems that he had, and let's see how we can implement it in the game engine that we like to use over here.
That's 2 weeks wasted. The same amount of time it took me to make 2 games in my previous video. Okay, shake it off. That wasn't Unity's fault, that was my own fault for making things hard for myself. I could have just modeled the windows all along, but I chose to spend 2 weeks doing that. So lesson learned, let's move on.
All right,
There was an issue whereas in tight spaces, the camera was way too claustrophobic, so I came up.
we'll skip ahead.
So, thing isn't so hard after all. And luckily, the long history of camera issues I struggled with.
I decided to make it my personal mission to get revenge on this scammer, and now, a few months later, I have complete access
For so long is still over thanks to Cinemachine. Wait, it's broken. So basically, I want to be able to hide behind a wall and appear as a silhouette without the camera jumping forwards. But I want it to stay there when it does jump forwards, and instead the camera is getting pushed backwards through thin walls. Those of you who've followed the devlogs know that I've been struggling with camera issues for a long time, so this is kind of disheartening. And after extensive Google.
So there you see the effect that we're going to attempt to go for. We're actually going to keep it relatively simple. We're not going to get bogged down in too much minutia. Um, I already have it set up here because it is something that I am not used to doing all the time. And of course, you all know we're using BuildBox, the #1 codeless solution for creating video games fast. That is why I use it. That's why you should use it too. If you have not downloaded it already, links are going to be in the description. Right now, we have the cube as our character. We have a wall and we have X-ray. The cool thing is the cube, unless you want shadows inside of the cube, like to use the cube as a silhouette or to use your character as a silhouette, you really don't have to implement or put any nodes inside of this, with the exception of course, some movement nodes. So I've placed some keyboard nodes in here so that I can press up, down, left, and right to move the character. And this initially was how everything was working, i.e., the character would move, the character would touch the wall would then become transparent. But now we don't have that. We actually just have the wall becoming transparent as long as the camera is close enough. So setting this up could appear to be difficult due to the way that certain things work, such as I initially believed everything needed to be dynamic to be able to interact with each other. But I found out through the power of elimination um, that, in all honesty, as long as there is a if collide inside of one of the objects that needs to be triggered, you should be a-okay. The if collide can be used because it creates a collider, and that collider has the same physics as the objects that it is placed into, with the exception of it can collide with other things regardless what the physics are. So that's pretty neat. So what I decided to do was create another cube and extend that cube. This cube, I call it X-ray. It gives us the power of X-ray vision. And I specifically took that cube and connected it directly to the camera. This way, no matter where the camera is located in our world, that cube is going to be stuck to the camera. It is greatly important that this cube's physics are kinematic, all right? Kinematic physics. Let me check. Um, so X-ray's cube is well, the X-ray itself, it appears to be kinematic. So here we go. Start. So as you can see, kinematic. It's affected by all. Okay. So we make sure that it's affected by all. So it's going to be able to interact with all. Anything can interact with it and touch it. It's kinematic so that it can float and then its position can be moved. All right. And the rest of this stuff, you just manipulate accordingly, but scale can stay the same, rotation and things of that nature can stay the same. As you can see, I rotated it on a slight angle, but that's only in the world, not necessarily in the base mesh. Okay. So inside of the cube, we set it up as follow. We don't want the 3D model to show up in the scene when we begin. So we want to make sure to disconnect the 3D model from the start node. Again, make sure that the start node is going to be triggered by all. So basically whatever it touches, it can function with. Next, we also have this if collide. It is very important to have this if collide here. You may need it later on. In all honesty, though, I don't have anything being triggered by these send nodes. So I'm showing you all this information because I don't know. So just make sure to remove all of that good stuff here. And because you don't need any of that, you just need these two. So the X-ray is really simple. Just make sure that it can be affected or can affect something. And like I said, you may need the if collider. You may need that in there. But we're going to try it without it first, then we're going to add it later, just to keep it simplistic for you guys. So really the most important part is the thing that you want to disappear, the wall. So let me make sure that it still disappears, or let me make sure that it still becomes transparent for you guys. I'm going to hit play and let's see what we get. It's already transparent. We back up and now it's not transparent. So the way that we accomplish this is as follows. Okay. Make sure to have an if collide, right? The regular collide, it's just not going to work. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? I have no idea, other than, of course, it not being dynamic. So that's probably the only reason why it's not working. But the solution to fixing that is just using a regular if collide node, which can be found by using the search bars, typing if, dragging node inside, and then using it accordingly. Make sure that it is affected by the thing you want it to come in contact with and be affected by. So for us, it is that X-ray rectangle that we created, or cube that we created, whatever you want to call it shape-wise. The collision shape is still going to be the original collision shape of the wall, which in here is a rectangle, but that's how it got manipulated. It's originally a cube, of course, and then that is going to always kind of match what we already have available. So no need to worry there. Let's go back into our wall. Next, we have the if collide, and we needed a way for the wall to know if it's being contacted with, just besides the if collide. So we have two separate signal filters. One is for when it's true. So if it is actually colliding with the X-ray, this is triggered. And one is if it is false. That means if it is not connected to, or if it is not connecting with or touching the X-ray, it's going to be false. And again, these can be found simply by typing in signal filter, all right, and find it inside of the search bar, dragging the node and changing the pass-through information to true and or false. Now, this next part was a little bit tricky to find out, just with a little bit of trial and error. Um, I accomplished it, and now you guys can save a lot of time. You can use the logger node in order to get things to trigger. So originally, when you get a logger node, it only tells you whatever it is that you want it to tell you. So it logs information coming out of any node as long as you connect it to that section. Connect it to that section. Then you make sure to label it however you want. Like you can enable it, you can uh, label it scribe. Okay. And then after, wait, we need those things. Boop, boop, boop. I mean, I'm just saying. But you can label it subscribe. And then after that, you set it here. Or you set it anywhere you want. I'm going to set it when it changes the color to transparent. So now I'm going to hit play. And we see true, subscribe. Come on out. False. Subscribe. False. Subscribe. Very, very, very easy to understand. It's awesome. Okay. Um, so you can set that message to be anything you want. You can set the error type to be anything that you want. However, for a long while, without these two nodes here, or at least without the done on the end of these nodes, we actually are not able to trigger the set color change. For it is quite annoying, to be honest. I'm going to show you what happens when the loggers are detached and you only have the filters connected instead. As you can see, it is still transparent. It's not supposed to be transparent anymore. And for some reason, it just stays that way. So the only solution was to place a middleman here. So I tried signal filters, I've tried signal thresholds, I've basically tried everything. And I figured, well, my logger is logging when the signals are triggered. So what if I made uh, everything work based on what the loggers say in the code, right? And so this is when I came up with this idea to add a done section to the logger. So the original logger looks like this. So take a moment to pause if you need to. And then my edited logger looks like this. All I did was added a emit signal, done, true, which I grabbed from or I figured out from something like a signal filter. Okay. This one says out. You can have it be done. Really doesn't matter which ones you choose, just as long as, again, you have the logger as the. And so now when this logger states that it's true or it's been activated, that's when it sets the color to transparent, which is white. Which is white, which is the plain base color of the mesh. And I've set the alpha channel to 200, 100. Those are all transparent. 0 is invisible, and black will still, I mean, 250 is the max, you fully solid and all those things. So set this one to white, this one is set to transparent, and then this gives the illusion of having X-ray vision. Now, if we go to the X-ray, here we can see that it's already kind of sort of touching the character right in the front here. Oops. See. And then basically as soon as this touches this wall, you'll be able to see it. Once it's not touching the wall anymore, that's when it's solidified. You can't see through it. So you can use this for a bunch of stuff in the game. And I definitely think I'm going to be using it more specifically for powers and ability when I finish making or when I begin to make my Battle Royale.io game. So when I get into that, you guys are going to be able to see just exactly how it functions, how it works. Go backing up. And then it even works even when we have rotation, see? And if you really want to see whether or not it's transparent, we can just put this here. And I haven't made any zooming out or zooming in yet. All right, so that I think that's just the easy way. If you want to create a silhouette, the best thing to do would to just be to change the color of the object that you want a silhouette of. So change it to dark black, and that will give you that kind of silhouette look of the object in the background, similar to what we saw in the beginning of the show. Wanted to keep this relatively simple. Actually, I'm going to file save right now, and I'm going to make this. I'm going to name it X-ray. X-ray setup. Okay, guys. Now, if we can get this video to 100 views, I'm going to post a link to, excuse me, I'm going to post a link to this project in the comment section as well as a description. So just make sure that you share this content and you'll be able to, instead of doing all the hard work that I just showed you, you'll be able to just download it and copy and paste. But with all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.